Guys, it's great to have you here on the show. We do have our next two guests on, as we mentioned earlier. They are, of course, promoting a film that has a lot of importance. It's called We Need to Talk, which is coming out soon, and trying to have an important message that's trying to get across to all the people who are watching, so we don't want to waste their time and get stuck right into it. So welcome, guys. Welcome, David. Welcome, Lauren. Good to see you both.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
So tell us a bit about the film We Need to Talk. What is it about, and what are the pledges that you're organising?
We Need to Talk, a film I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's about society talking about suicide. We're not talking about depression, we're talking about the next stage of a person feeling really bad about themselves and to the point where they want to take their own lives. You know? So we're doing a Kickstarter campaign, and the story's pretty much around a 20-year-old girl. Sophie's playing Bree Nacho, and she plays one of the leads. There's two leads, and it's about a 20-year-old girl who commits suicide and comes back and visits her mother as a spirit, and then takes her mother into the spirit world and shows her mother where she has to stay for the rest of an eternity, which is not a very nice place. So what we're trying to do with this really is, instead of trying to get rid of or stop the bullying and stopping the trolls and all that sort of thing, we're trying to do it another way, in that we're trying to get people that are thinking about taking their own lives to see what they're going to be missing out on.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Can you tell us, just because the statistics of suicide in Australia are just so high, like, was that, like, could you, when you first saw them, when you were doing the research, that must have been staggering when you saw that?
Well, yeah, it's just outrageous. There's, I think it's like 3-4 times the road toll in Australia, you know?
Wow.
And no one talks about it, you know, and no one's allowed to talk about it, and it's like no one wants to talk about it, you know, and it's just it's a tragedy that these people are taking their lives, and there's just forgotten, and they're like just statistics, you know. It's like they're spending billions of dollars on the road toll trying to fix it, and there's investigations into when people die, you know. It's like, but with suicide, it's like, oh, that's just, we can't say it's suicide, so it's just misadventure, you know, and that's it.
It's funny because when we started, getting all the information together for the film, I mean, we were even shocked when we got all these statistics together. It's baffling. It really is.
So your experience on the show, would you say it's like really affected you, that it has really affected you working on the movie?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, for me, it really kind of dug deep for me. I mean, myself, when I was younger, I suffered from depression and anxiety as well. So it has a really hard-hitting impact on you.
Yeah, right.
Can I just cut in there, Sophie, with your, because you mentioned that going through depression when you were younger, how did you manage to overcome that?
A lot of hard work. I mean, it's interesting. At first, you don't really know what's going on, and I guess in a way that's kind of one of the reasons why a lot of these people end up taking that next step. They don't actually know what's going on. They don't know why they're feeling like this. And I mean, for me, talking to someone about it really helped. I mean, I first opened up about it to my mum, and then from there she helped me, get everything organised, and I started seeing a psychologist, and it's hard work. It's really, really hard work. And I was probably seeing a psychologist for a little over a year before I started feeling a little bit better about myself.
Yeah, it's really good that you managed to overcome that, because I wanted to ask that because there'll be people watching at home wanting to know how they went through what you're going through now, and hopefully get out of that as quickly as possible. So it's good that you managed to get out there when you did, and before things got worse.
Yeah, well, I suppose, I mean, a big thing about it all is a lot of people think that they're, on their own. They don't realise that there are so many other people that are going through the exact same thing.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't know what to do either. It really is, if you start feeling like this, it is just a matter of going to your local GP. They will ask you a couple of questions, and like with that, they kind of get a score together, I guess, to find out, where you're at, and then it's just a matter of being referred to someone to speak to about it.
Yeah, and that's why I made this film, to get as much help as you can. David, how have you gone about making this film with all the budgets and getting all the funding? Has that been hard for you?
Well, in the past, in past films that have done quite well internationally, I've put my own funds into it. This is because a lot of it's set in the spirit world, so there's a lot of VFX and CGI and all that.
Yeah.
It's a bit more expensive, so I don't make that sort of much money on during the week. So we're doing the Kickstarter funding, and we're wanting people to pledge. We have some great rewards. We've got one reward which is like $250. If you put up $250, there's only 10 of them that you get a part in the film, and you get a speaking part. And your character has a name, and so therefore you can do IMDb and all that. So we've got a lot of pretty good rewards for actors and just for people to get involved.
Yeah, just different encouragement.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Marty Edge. I'm playing the role of Madeline the mother in We Need to Talk. Lastly, I want to talk to you about pledging. Why should you pledge to another campaign? Because this is vital to enable us to make this film and get the message now that suicide is never the answer. Every dollar you pledge will get us closer to making this very important film. I thank you for your time. Thank you.
And also, just to say, because some of them might be also depression or going through a hard time, this, hopefully if they do, it's going to be good for them as well and get a career like what you guys are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's all about helping everyone,
Yeah, but you are both in the industry in your own right, outside of the film. So what made you decide to write the film, and what brought that on?
Okay, so it's in the bit of the Kickstarter promo, it mentions a little bit about that, but I'll just reiterate that. It's I was at Christmas lunch with my sister, who's a counsellor, and we had just family, there, and my mother was there, of course, and my sister's phone rings. She gets a call, walks out of the room, comes back about 30 seconds later. I said, who's that? What's happening there? It's like, this is Christmas lunch. Everyone's like having their lunch. She said, I've got 8 students on suicide watch at the moment. It's on Christmas Day, and one student has been taken to emergency, So that really, it even gives me goosebumps just thinking about it now. So that just really shocked me. I didn't have any idea, and I think most people out there have no idea that this is going on, And what's really sad is that when a child dies in a car accident, which is very sad, or there's in some other form, the school has some sort of assembly, counselling, all that. When a child dies takes their own life, commits suicide, there's nothing. It's just nothing. It's just vacant. Everyone gets on with their. Everyone sort of knows what happened, but it's like the child didn't exist. And it's so. It's just. Wow. Let's not talk about it. Let's not deal with it. So, we're trying to change that culture. And this is not just about with parents and children talking, but this is about governments. This is about schools. This is about society talking about suicide and mentioning the name. It's not a. It's an ugly word, but we need to
change
mention
the whole
it a lot
culture
more.
of it.
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
There's definitely a real taboo around it.
Yeah.
I mean, even just looking for the research for it.
What would have to be, I'm going to ask this for the both of you, what's the biggest misunderstanding, if you will, of suicide in a short sentence way?
The biggest misunderstanding is with attempted suicide and suicide is that people tend to think that they're looking for, the people that are doing this are looking for sympathy and empathy, and maybe the suicide went too far, they didn't mean to do it, and it's that's pretty much it.
Just the whole thing, right?
But the amazing thing about this is, and I still find it hard to believe, is that there's some outrageous figures out there. It's like worldwide, every 40 seconds someone commits suicide.
Is it 45 seconds?
Yeah.
That's the statistic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's incredible. Like, since we've been here, how many people have died? And the thing is, if you don't talk about it, and the governments don't talk about it, and the police don't look into it, then how are we going to build up any sort of a background to why people are doing this, right? To solve the problem. If you just brush it away like it doesn't exist, if there's a murder or there's a car accident and someone dies, there's statistics that are built up around that, and there's information that is found out because the authorities are looking into it. When someone dies of suicide, it's just everyone says, oh, just let's move on.
I think too, a lot of people that know someone who's committed suicide as well. They don't really understand. They feel like they've done something wrong because they didn't notice that something was wrong. Something was going on with the person. And a lot of people don't realise that when you're actually going through something like depression or anxiety, you put on a face, and you just go about your day pretending that everything's okay with you. And that's why a lot of people don't realise that a lot of, you look at someone and they seem really smiley or happy at school and everything, but you have no idea what's happening to them behind the scenes. And so a lot of people, they see a friend or family member or daughter, husband, whatever, commit suicide, and they think that it's their fault for not noticing.
Yeah, it comes out of, you think like it looks like it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. But it's definitely their fault. I mean, we put on a face. You don't want people to know what you're going through.
It's the whole culture around it.
Yeah.
But guys, thanks so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Thanks for having us.
It's been such a pleasure. Hopefully we've got some sort of more of an awareness out there.
And of course the film We Need to Talk, which you can help and support. So do what you can, go to the links, help these guys out, and make a difference and change lives for the better.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.